Prabhupada says, unless one's liberated from the material conditioning, those defects must be there. Yeah. So a philosopher accuses an economist of being a cheater. So someone has a big philosophy of life, maybe philanthropic, altruistic, all good for everyone, and he's accusing an economist of being a cheater. The economist is trying to manipulate the economy, is involved in trying to analyze how to make money. And the philosopher accuses this economist of being a cheater because he's trying to figure out how to make money. And he's not going into this high philosophy. But when the philosopher needs money, what does he do? He cheats. Because he needs money. So he's got this big philosophy, but then he cheats because he's got to get the money. It's a good one. The scientists, they're also cheating because they present so many bogus things. And they get, because that's how they earn their livelihood. They make some big proposal, write some big paper, have some big theory, and get some big funds from the government and from the educational institutions, and they get a lot of money. But they can't actually do anything useful. Really can't alleviate any of the suffering, really. Because the suffering is coming from the identification of the soul, spirit soul, with the external energy. But that science, they don't profess. Yeah. They go where the money is to make some so-called solution to problems. Prabhupada quotes here going to the moon. Everybody got all excited, especially the government, because that really puts politically that country that goes to the moon, they're on top. They're like, wow, they just like psychologically they defeated all the other countries by their fantastic achievements. I mean, they just dwarf all the other countries. So they was very attractive politically. First country to go to the moon, to see how powerful, how brilliant. Don't mess with us. We're very advanced technologically. You don't even know half the stuff that we're developing. You don't want to mess with us. We're the dominant civilization, dominant culture on the planet. Stand back. Here we come. Bold, powerful, indefeatable, like that, go to the moon. But what did they do? They took a lot of money, and what did they do? Now this talk that they didn't even go to the moon. It was just a big show. And they took all the money. They went to the moon. What did they do? They supposedly came back with a handful of dust and a few rocks. Big show. The big show. There's a lot of groups of investigators who are coming up with evidence that this may have been the case. But in any case, they did get a lot of money. And they did get the political clout that they were looking for at the time. So, but it's cheating. What good does it do anybody? Does it help anybody? Text 27. In this materialistic life there are many difficulties, as I've just mentioned, and all of these are insurmountable. In addition, there are difficulties arising from so-called happiness, distress, and attachment, hate, fear, false prestige, illusion, madness, lamentation, bewilderment, greed, envy, enmity, insult, hunger, thirst, tribulation, disease, birth, old age, and finally death. All these combine together to give the materialistic, conditioned soul nothing but misery. Wow. It's quite a list. Prabhupada's commentary. The conditioned soul has to accept all these conditions simply to enjoy sense gratification in this world. Although people declare themselves great scientists, economists, philosophers, politicians, sociologists, they're actually nothing but rascals. Therefore, they have been described as Mudas and Naradamas, Bhagavad Gita. Namam diskritino mudha prapadyante naradama maya pritagyana ashuram bhavamasrita. Those miscreants are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, who partake of atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Due to their foolishness, all these materialists are described in Bhagavad Gita as Naradamas. They've attained the human form in order to get release from material bondage, but instead of doing so, they become further embarrassed amid the miserable material conditions. Therefore, they are Naradamas, the lowest of men. One may ask whether scientists, philosophers, economists, mathematicians are also Naradamas, the lowest of men. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead replies that they are, because they have no actual knowledge. They're simply proud of their false prestige and position. Actually, they do not know how to get relief from the material condition and renovate their spiritual life of transcendental bliss and knowledge. Consequently, they waste time and energy in the search for so-called happiness. These are the qualifications of the demons. Bhagavad Gita, it says that when one has all these demonic qualities, he becomes a Muda. Due to this, he envies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, birth after birth, he's born in a demonic family, and he transmigrates from one demonic body to another. And thus he forgets relationship with Krishna and remains in Naradama in an abominable condition, life after life. The problem is they're proud of their false prestige and position. You want to be Krishna. So these so-called educated people in these different fields of research and knowledge, philosophers, economists, mathematicians, scientists, they can't get relief or release from the material identification with the external energy. They have no realization of their own spiritual nature, and yet they present their doctrines and their philosophies and their teachings, and they expound and they give lectures and they travel and they write books and they make documentaries and they go on public speaking programs for interviews, and they're very big and important, and it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. But that's how they earn their living, and they like to be big and important, and they challenge each other, and they work together sometimes to make a project. But it's false prestige. I'm so big important, I'm such a big thinker, I'm such a big scientist. Me, I. going to solve all the problems of life. We're getting closer now. We're getting closer now to really understanding the anthropologists. They dig up bones. They go around the world digging up pieces of broken pottery and bones. Try to put the bones together And then they try to speculate on what that civilization was like this, to find out these ancient civilizations. If they were to go to India and Vrindavan and spend a little time with the sadhus and the devotees, they would find a living culture. They don't need bones to figure out these advanced civilizations that were on the planet millions of years ago. There's one on the planet now, a remnant of it, which is being revived by Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan. And they would have a living specimen. Because actually, in the villages, the people are living the same way they have been living for centuries and centuries. So you would have a living culture. But no, there's more money to go and make some speculation, some phantasmagoria story that the aliens came from outer space and rearranged the DNA, and then the civilization collapsed, and they all have all these stories. And it's very exciting reading. It's like fiction, like it makes good movies and stuff. It's all nonsense. It's all nice, it's speculation. And they have no actual realization of their own spiritual nature as a servant of Krishna. Well, you ought to say maybe some vague idea of it, but real knowledge is not there because of this attachment and being proud of the false prestige and the self-importance that comes with making these big theories and these big hoo-has. So in this way they're cheated. They're cheating, and they're also being cheated, because the human form of life is meant for realizing Krishna. So, thus he forgets his relationship with Krishna and remains Naradama in an abominable condition, life after life. So, Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement on the roll. This movement is meant to sweep the planet, and it's meant for everyone, even the Naradama. He's running through the airport with his briefcase. Maybe he got a Bhagavad Gita or something. The devotees were very clever. I know sometimes they would be distributing books, and I heard one devotee, he said he was a physicist. So I think it was Mula Prakriti, who's recently, she's departed recently, but she was very, very enthusiastic distributor for Prabhupada's books for many years in Los Angeles. And I remember I was watching her, and a scientist, he stopped, he was a physicist, and she's very friendly. She had a beautiful smile, all teeth, very beautiful smile, very full, beautiful, captivating. Her whole face would light up with her smile. So he stopped. He was on his way someplace with a plane, with his briefcase in a big hurry. But she stopped him and engaged him in a little conversation quickly. She had, I think it was a Krishna book. I'm not sure. It might have been Bhagavad Gita or some other book, but it might have been a Bhagavatam, I don't know. But I'm thinking it was Krishna book. And so she asked him, and what do you do? And he said, I'm a physicist. And she said, oh, that's wonderful. This is terrific. You'll appreciate this so much because this goes into the physics. This is a wonderful book of physics. In a sense it is, because it is a physics, this physics of the soul, of the spirit. Of course, he was a material physicist. But so he took the book. He gave, I think, like $20 or something, and he took I think it was a Krishna book. He's going to find out about physics. So it was. So Lord Chaitanya's movement is there. They come into contact with the devotee who wants to engage them in Krishna's service, and like this, captivated by the devotional energy. Lord Chaitanya's movement is for everyone. But this is their position. Without Lord Chaitanya's movement, it's abominable life, condition, life after life. So this is the hope for all the fallen, suffering, living entities who are so falsely proud of their false prestige and their so-called position. And it's all nonsense. It's all built on illusion. Text 28. Sometimes the conditioned soul is attracted by illusion personified, his wife or girlfriend, and becomes eager to be embraced by a woman. Thus he loses his intelligence as well as knowledge of life's goal. At that time, no longer attempting spiritual cultivation, he becomes overly attached to his wife or girlfriend and tries to provide her with a suitable apartment. Again, he becomes very busy under the shelter of that home and is captivated by the talks, glances, and activities of his wife and children. In this way, he loses his Krishna consciousness and throws himself into the dense darkness of material existence.